Hello, welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about some of the things that I've learned and some of the things that have changed since I went raw over 8.5 years ago. So it's been over 3,000 days that I've been eating only raw foods, and I want to share a little bit about my experience in this video. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with me here. If you enjoy videos like this, if you enjoy my channel, click like and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can click the little bell to get notifications sent to you whenever I post a new video. We also have 40% off any or all of our raw vegan recipe ebooks, including informational ebooks and my brand new 300-page raw vegan transition guide that I just released. And that has 47 recipes in it as well, but it's a step-by-step guide on how you can go raw or just add more raw to your diet. So that's in there too. Everything is 40% off with code RAWFOOD40. The link is in the description box below. So I have eaten nothing but raw foods for over 8.5 years now, and it has just been awesome. I am so happy and so grateful to my older self for making those changes. Originally, I went raw in September of 2014. So again, it's been 8.5 years. And the first 1.5 years was where I noticed the biggest changes. My cystic acne went away, I lost 70 pounds, my joint pain went away, my candida overgrowth that I'd been dealing with for like 15 years of my life finally balanced out. My hormones balanced out. I used to go 3 to 9 months without having a cycle, and now I'm month to month. I have been for probably around 8 years now. And things just gradually improved day after day as I continually made these daily choices. I now have such a strong habit with the raw food that even when I'm hungry, when I'm stressed, when I'm tired, I just default to raw food because I've been doing it for so long that the habit has really solidified. And it never used to be like this. I had to consciously remind myself every day that today I'm choosing raw food, and I had to plan my day out. I still plan my day, but I really had to make an effort to plan because it was out of the ordinary. It wasn't my habit, so I wasn't used to it. I was still defaulting to older patterns, and I had to remind myself what I was doing differently so that I didn't fall back into those old patterns because they were no longer serving me and I didn't want to follow them anymore. So it was constantly trying to remind myself of what I really wanted to be doing, which was consuming whole foods in their raw state. So now, after 8.5 years, it's default. It's super easy for me to choose raw, and I get asked quite often, don't you miss cooked food? And honestly, I don't even think about cooked food because when I'm hungry, stressed, tired, I think about the raw foods that I can eat because I've created this pathway in my brain that is an automatic default, and that only happens with repetition. The more times we choose it in times of stress and tiredness and boredom or with social gatherings and stuff like that, the more times we repeat the choice, the easier it gets. And the longer that I choose raw foods, the easier it gets. It just gets easier and easier and easier. And now that it's habit, it's my reality, it's what I default to. And I'm so grateful to my older self for making those choices every day and sticking to it even when I had cravings in the beginning, because it was more psychological habit cravings, because when you're hungry, hunger is just a natural signal that your body needs fuel. A craving is a reflection of your habits. You're gonna crave what you're most likely going to eat, what you love the most, what you have emotional connections to. You're gonna crave those things. You're gonna crave potato chips if you always default to potato chips. You're gonna crave pizza on a Friday night if you always get pizza on a Friday night. So a craving is really just a reflection of our habits and our environment and how we grew up. but we can change the craving, because the craving is just a symptom of hunger, which is totally natural. We shouldn't be suppressing our hunger or trying to stop our hunger or distracting ourselves from hunger. We need to honor our hunger. So when you do feel a craving, realize that it's just a reflection of your current habits and that you need to honor your hunger. So fuel yourself up with the new things that you want to be fueling up with. And I've learned over 8.5 years, constantly making that repetition, that it does get easier with time. At least that was for me. And I am just really happy to be where I am, because now it's no longer such a challenge to remind myself every day that this is what I'm trying to do. Another thing that has changed dramatically, I feel, in the last 8.5 years has been my skin. My skin has changed so much, and it continues to change as I age. And now I do realize, and I do teach, that it's like we're not here for immortality, and we're not trying to stay looking like we are 20 for the rest of our lives. We're gonna age. The thing is, like, how do we want to age? That's really the ultimate question. I'm gonna get wrinkles, I'm gonna get older, that's just how it is. And people might look back on my older videos and be like, oh, she looked younger back then when I'm 80. And it's like, well, of course. When I'm 80, I'm gonna look different than I did when I started my videos at 34. And I'm 43 now, and I do notice that my skin is so much more hydrated. I don't break out in cystic acne anymore. I dealt with cystic acne ever since I was a teenager, right up until age probably would have been around 35. It was about 4 to 5 months into my raw journey when the cystic acne stopped. So I really had to give it time and be patient with myself and really work through that and allow my skin to finally express itself the way it should. But it took time, it took patience, and everyone's going to be different. Some people do ask me, like, how long is it gonna take before I notice this or before this is gone? There's no answer to give somebody. All it is you supporting your body through whatever it's going to heal or do or change. You just want to support your body, and expecting results in 2 months or lose this many pounds in 2 weeks or whatever. Like, those kinds of things are just marketing gimmicks to get you to buy into a course or what have you. It's really about where you're at, how your gut microbiome is, what your daily habits are, what your past has been like, what your current diet is, what your past diet has been like. There's so many factors that are part of your healing, and you have to take a lot of things into account when you do embark on a raw diet or even just a whole food, plant-based vegan diet. You really need to let your body do what it needs to do and just be there to support it through the detox process, because our bodies detox every day, all the time. It's always constantly doing that, and we need to nourish it, because there's a lot of things that we get, especially from greens and cruciferous vegetables, that help to support the phase 2 of liver detox. So if we want to support detox, we need to eat the nutrition in order to have a successful detox. And we need to eat a huge amount of fiber to help pull those toxins out of the body. If we're not eating enough fiber, then the toxins can recirculate. So we really want to get those toxins out by increasing our fiber. And increasing our fiber also improves our gut microbiome, which is also another thing that I've noticed after being raw for 8.5 years. Every year, my digestion is just awesome. I am so happy with that, because I have a family history of gut disease. So my mother had colon cancer. She's still alive. She had it removed, but that is part of the genetics there. And her brother, my uncle, had Crohn's disease, and he died at 27 with complications from that. So gut disease runs in my family, and that's why I am so into the science of the gut microbiome, and that's why I strive to eat a wide variety of fibers and improve my gut, because it is so important to me. I don't want to have my genetics expressed because I'm not eating enough fiber or enough fiber variety. So that's a big thing that has changed for me is my gut microbiome. I really, really wish that I had been able to test my microbiome when I first started raw, because I don't think that it was really that great. I had lots of serious gut issues. Basically, I had IBS symptoms, never was diagnosed, but I had like diarrhea and constipation, gas and bloating, so painful sometimes that I couldn't lay down, I couldn't sit up, I couldn't go for a walk. Nothing helped. It was so painful and like twisted like needles inside my gut. It hurt a lot. It wasn't every day, obviously, but there were times where it was just so incredibly painful. And I had severe gut dysbiosis since I was about 19-ish, 19, 20. So I was diagnosed with candida overgrowth. And for about 10 years, I did every kit I could get my hands on. I did the bentonite psyllium caprylic acid cleanse. I did so many anti-candida diets, low sugar diets, high fat diets. I did everything and anything that I could to help deal with the candida, and nothing was sustainable long term because I wasn't changing the foundation of what I was putting into my body every day. And I'm gonna make a video next weekend about my experience with candida and what I've learned after being raw for 8.5 years. So stay tuned for that. Make sure that you're subscribed to my YouTube channel and click the bell to get notifications. Whenever I post a new video, you'll get a notification for that. But the gut has been something that has really opened my eyes on how important getting our gut healthy is. And I had leaky gut and I had like so many different gut issues, and I was sick, I would say like every 2 months. I was sick with either a cold or a flu, or I was sick with a bladder or a yeast infection. Like I had all kinds of immune issues too. So after going raw, it did take time for my body to balance out, but I haven't had any candida symptoms since about, I don't even know, because like it's hard to give a timeline as to when it was like, oh, candida's gone. Like there's not really a time of when it was just gone, because it was a gradual change. I didn't have any symptoms anymore, or I wasn't getting yeast infections, and I stopped getting bladder infections. It was just like, this is pretty cool. This is really working. So that's another thing that I noticed that changed dramatically for me when I went raw. Last year, I took a gut microbiome test and the overall score was 83%. And just in January, I took another test and my score was just over 92%. So I have improved my microbiome score just in the last year. So after being raw for 7.5 years, I can only imagine what my gut score was like when I first started, because if it changed that much in the last year, who knows where it was before. So if it's been improving every year, that's why it's a gradual change, because every year, every day, every month, every week, every year, it gets better and your gut gets stronger when you are consistent with feeding the microbiome. And some people have asked me, Lissa, you've made so many changes in the last year. What have been the improvements in your gut from doing all those changes? And I would have to say that the biggest improvement, the thing that has improved the most, is my tomorrow. So I don't know how my gut would have been had I not worked on building my microbiome. So even though I don't notice anything like physical, because my digestion's great, I don't have any complaints. I digest things so well. I eat a huge variety of foods that a lot of people might think would be really irritating to them. Don't irritate me at all, because I've worked slowly to build up the amount of variety that I do eat now. But it's taken time. It's taken time to get there. And I don't notice like an incredible change in my digestion because it's already awesome. Like there's no real like super improvement there, but the improvement is in my tomorrow. The improvement, I've got a cat behind me here. Hello. The improvement is in my tomorrow. In 10, 20, 30, 40 years, what I'm doing today is going to help me later on down the road. So again, I'm not looking for instant change or these miraculous changes because I already feel awesome. I'm looking to improve my life in the future, but I'm not expecting to never age or to live forever. So I just really want to support my body through the aging process and enjoy my life the way it is with having amazingly delicious foods. So that's another thing that I've noticed. And I've also really realized how it's not all about the diet. There's so many things that we can do in our life that help support the diet. So sleep, hydration, exercise, time in nature, time with friends, community, hobbies, passion, relationships. All these things are so important, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a whole bunch of them. Meditation, self-care, all of that. They are equally as important as our diet. So there's some people who get really into the diet, which is great. We need to change our diets. We really, really do. At least moving over to whole food plant-based and then adding more raw, working your way up there, but also not neglecting the other things in our life, not neglecting your sleep, not neglecting your hydration, not neglecting your exercise, not neglecting going out in nature. We really need to encompass everything into a holistic lifestyle. So that is another thing that I've really embraced in the last even just couple of years. Obviously, when I first started diet, it was I was really into it, and I still am. I still love eating the food and making the food and creating new recipes and stuff, but there is so much more than just diet. Our mental health is really, really important, and we really need to work on our sleep. Sleep, I believe, is the axle of the wheel of health, and I've made videos on this before. Sleep is the axle that holds all the spokes to the wheel of health. Spokes being the diet, exercise, friendships, passion, all of that. Sleep holds it all together. If we're not sleeping right, we can be eating the best diet in the world, but we're not getting the benefits that sleep give us that we so desperately need. So it's super important to focus on getting good quality sleep as well. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click that little bell to get notifications sent to you whenever I post a new video. And we've got 40% off any or all of our raw vegan recipe ebooks, including my brand new 300-page raw vegan transition guide with 47 recipes in there to help you eat more raw food and change habits in your life, because it's not just about food. Like I said, there's so many other things, and I talk about them in the transition guide. So go check that out. Everything is 40% off with code RAWFOOD40, and the link for everything is in the description box below. So head on down there, go check it out. And thank you for joining me for this video. We'll be back next week for another one. I love you all so much. Until then, fruit on.